This is a desk, the top of one to be precise. A desktop, you could say. The word desktop, in this sense, comes from the year 1873. Not a surprise there, as we've had desks for ages. But the use of the word peaks in the year 2000. No, there wasn't a sudden scientific finding that hiding under a desk will protect children from nuclear radiation. It's all to do with computers. In fact, we have two meanings associated with computers. The desktop computer, a computer that could be placed on or near a desk, and the desktop, or home screen graphical user interface. This is what we're talking about. For ages now, the dominant computing concept has been this: a bunch of objects strewn all over a two-dimensional plane, each representing a program or action to start. Select it, and something happens. The way the user does this has remained surprisingly consistent for a long time: the computer mouse. Now, the mouse needs no introduction. Its ubiquity ensures widespread familiarity. But let's think about it for a moment. What really is happening? The movement of our hand is being translated to the computer interface, the little cursor acting in proxy for our finger. It's a bit interesting if you think about it. A motion of the wrist being translated to the screen, removed from what you are actually doing with your hands. The design of computer mice is interesting, as they determine the manner in which we interact with computers. Today's example is a modern take on a 40-year-old concept. Design of Things 16, Logitech MX Master 2S. Before we get into the details of this device, it's important to note that they are informed by decades of experience and innovation. This is the first mouse meant for consumers. Early mice used a rubber ball design. If any of you remember these, yeah, the tracking was poor and you had to clean out the lint and dirt from the inside, or they got frustratingly horrible. Then we got vastly superior optical mice, which initially were quite temperamental about the surface you used them on. There were lasers, blue light, and lots of different technologies powering this. Gradually, it improved to a point where you could use them basically anywhere. For a time in the early 2000s, it seemed like touch was poised to replace the mouse. Indeed, many companies even pushed this, but the speed and the precision of the mouse couldn't really be matched by resistive touchscreens and styli, or capacitive touchscreens and our sausage fingers. So the mouse always remained relevant. Recently, mouse support has even been added to iPads, devices originally designed for finger input, to make them more productive devices, capable of competing with computers. Let's get on to this premium modern mouse, starting with the design of the shell. The mouse is clearly designed with the right hand in mind, sculpted to rest in the palm of the hand. Its shape allows for the thumb to rest on the side, while positioning the pointer and middle finger on the two primary buttons. The remaining two digits hang off the side. Both the thumb rest area and the left side feature a textured geometric pattern with improved friction with the hand. You can really see the sloping, hand-fitted nature of the mouse when looking at it from the rear. From the front, it looks like a marine animal banking into a left-hand turn. As a result, it is comfortable in the hand, an important quality for something you'll use for hours on end. On the bottom, there are 4 slick pads to allow it to glide on any surface, a power switch with a little notch in the middle to make it easy to use your fingernail to toggle, the sensor, and a button to toggle between connections to multiple devices. We have a micro USB charging port in the front, hidden, but in the correct position, so it doesn't interrupt your work when you need to charge, which admittedly isn't that often. The silver bottom curves up around the edges and even onto the top of the mouse, providing a nice contrast to the darker gray of the main body. The only other accents are the metallic gleam of the two scroll wheels. Moving on to the buttons themselves. The main two buttons are large and have a super satisfying click when you apply pressure. Your hand position doesn't have to be just right for them to work well. Listen to this satisfying click. Then we have the scroll wheel, in my opinion, the standout feature of this mouse. When moving slowly, there are nice tactile steps that you can feel as you rotate the nice rubber-topped wheel. Give it a strong flick, and it releases to spin, which because it has weight, it can do for quite a while. Awesome. The side thumb wheel is similarly weighted, but in this case doesn't have the stepping or fast spin function. The resistance makes it possible to do small, precise movements. Behind this are two more buttons, which due to the raised, elongated shape are tactile enough to feel out without looking. These make a deeper click when pressed. Overall, it's an amazing package with the ergonomics and use well thought out. But of course, every person is built differently. So the more a design attempts to mold to a specific form, the more it will exclude others who don't conform to that. Even for my hand, this is not 100% perfect. I feel that this bump on the right side could be smoothed out to make my hand fit better. And what about left-handed mouse users? This design is the opposite of ergonomic for them. While not perfect, this rodent is a good example showcasing decades of iteration on a design. Until next time, on Design of Things.